what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we are doing the Stevenson versus De Los Santos breakdown video, as Shakur Stevenson, the undefeated former 2-division world champion, fights for a championship in his third different weight class as he takes on the undefeated power punching Edwin De Los Santos on Thursday, November 16th on ESPN. Now, before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. I'm at about 580 subscribers, 579, 580. I'd like to get to 600 by the end of the year. So if you guys could help me out with that, I would hugely appreciate it, you know, as I continue to build everything. Now let's get into this fight. You know, normally in a breakdown video, championship fight like this, we go with the favorite, or we go with the champion challenger. There is no champion in this one. They're both, the title's vacant. So we will then go with the favorite and the underdog, which Shakur Stevenson is coming into favorite. De Los Santos is the underdog. I basically asked the same stuff on both sides, but I talk about the fight first, what it means, then we get into the same questions for each fighter. You know, what do they need to do to win? We close it out at the end with, is it better for boxing if one or the other wins? And then finally, my prediction on the fight. So getting into this one now, let's take a look at this fight. You know, vacant WBC title on the line. Devin Haney, the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, he has been bucked down to champion in recess because he decided to move up to 140 pounds and challenge Regis Prograis for the title there. So basically, the official title is vacant, and Stevenson gets to fight De Los Santos for the vacant belt. It was supposed to be Stevenson and Frank Martin, but Frank Martin bailed out of the fight for whatever reason, and De Los Santos stepped in as the next highest available contender, and now these two guys are going to go at it for the vacant belt. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think it's an exciting bout between two young fighters who are both southpaws. They both have different styles, and I think that's going to make their style clash interesting. But, you know, this is Shakur trying to secure a championship in a third weight class, and De Los Santos trying to prove that he belongs. So, gonna be interesting. Again, it's on a Thursday, main eventing ESPN, and the undercard, the co-feature is sick, with Emmanuel Navarrete fighting Robson Conceição. If you ain't watching on Thursday, November 16th, you guys are fucking tripping. This is gonna be a good card right here. So, now that we discussed the fight, let's get into each fighter. We start with Shakur Stevenson and what he's done rolling into this fight. So Stevenson, we either go the last 3 years or we go the last 3 fights. Just depends. He's been very active. His last 3 fights date back to April of last year, where he got the biggest victory of his career, a dominating 12-round unanimous decision over Oscar Valdez at 130 pounds as he unified the WBC and WBO titles there, and really, you know, really put himself in the best, you know, position that he could. He made himself the top dog at 130. Big time win right there. Then he fought, I believe it was October or November of last year, against Robson Conceição. It was supposed to be for the unified super featherweight title, but Stevenson came in overweight and was stripped of the belts the day before. The fight went forward. Stevenson dominated Conceição to a one-sided unanimous decision, and declared himself as a lightweight, that he was going to move up to lightweight. He did that earlier this year. He took on some guy named Yoshino, who is an undefeated fighter on the rise, you know, from Japan. He had defeated a couple good former Japanese contenders, and it was, you know, Stevenson broke him down, beat him up, and stopped him in the I think it was the 6th or the 8th round, and made a good, impactful debut at 135 pounds lightweight. So rolling into this one, Stevenson's hungry. He's hot. He's probably pissed off a little bit because there are a lot of people that are calling him a duck for not fighting Haney. But again, I will defend that even though if it was me, I think he should have taken the fight with Haney and called Haney's bluff. But I understand why he scoffed and didn't take the fight, because he was getting Haney, the best he was going to offer him was 25%. I thought that's ridiculous for a guy like Shakur and his name. He definitely deserves more than that. But Haney would not up the price, and I think he did that intentionally. But be that as it may, Stevenson is still getting an opportunity at fighting for a championship in a third weight class. I think he's hungry. I have always said that I think Stevenson is going to be the future pound for pound king of boxing. He's still on his way, very young, 26 years old, and we'll see how he does. What does he need to do to win this fight against De Los Santos? And I really think it's just masterful boxing, his timing, just doing what he normally does. But I don't think he needs to get careless and get in there and slug with De Los Santos. He might do that for a little bit, but I think he'd be wise to not do that, because De Los Santos is 16-1 with 14 knockouts, and that's exactly how he pulled off the upset and put himself in this position with that dominating third round knockout last year of Jose Valenzuela that we'll talk about. But De Los Santos is hungry and he's young, and Shakur needs to not put himself in harm's way. He needs to break down De Los Santos. De Los Santos is not a guy that has fought deep into fights. This is a 12-round fight, and he's going to struggle if Shakur can work the body and just counterpunch and classically break him down, and he can have a good chance of defeating him, taking him into the deep waters and drowning him, and becoming champ in a third weight class. That's what I think he needs to do. Now, can Shakur win this fight by knockout? I think he can. I think he can break down De Los Santos. I think he can break him down and drown him in the late rounds and beat him by a knockout. Can he win a decision? Can Shakur win a decision in this one? He can. Shakur's the better boxer. He can technically dominate this fight, in my opinion, and he can pull off a decision. Now, what does a win mean for Shakur Stevenson? A win is big. People are going to think, well, it's not that big of a deal. But to continue Shakur's run, he needs to set up those bigger fights, he needs to win this fight. So this fight is just as important as any other, because he's not going to get the big-time fights with Lomachenko or Haney. He's already avoided by some fighters because of how good he is. And he's not going to get any of those fights if he does not win this one first. So it's big. It gives him a title. It gives him a playing card in the lightweight division. And as long as Tank Davis and Vasily Lomachenko are still here at 135, even Devin Haney, Stevenson holding a world title belt is huge. It can really make or break him. So a win is big for him. What does a loss mean for Stevenson? It's going to be devastating. The thing is we know Stevenson is very good, and most people feel that he is exceptionally good. I personally feel he's on that Terrence Crawford special kind of level, and I want to see what he can do moving forward and see how good he really is. But a loss to De Los Santos will really knock him down a bunch, and it's really going to hurt his career. He cannot afford to lose this fight, so a lot of pressure on him in that regards. So let's switch over now to the to the B side, the underdog, the hard-hitting Edwin De Los Santos, 16-1, 14 knockouts. For De Los Santos rolling into this fight, he's won 3 fights in a row since his lone defeat, which was at the hands of William Foster III, who's a pretty good boxer, and he lost by a 10-round split decision. So this guy has barely tasted defeat, and he's very hungry. His last 3 fights date back to last year in March, where he knocked out some guy named Luis Acosta in the 2nd round. Then he followed that up with his career best win in September when he knocked out Jose Valenzuela in the 3rd round, and then earlier this year took on a veteran named Joseph Adorno and dominated him over 10 rounds to a shutout unanimous decision, and now is in line for this. I give Edwin De Los Santos a lot of props because not a lot of people want to fight Shakur Stevenson. Not a lot of people do. He was next in line, and once Frank Martin bailed on the fight with Shakur, Stevenson said, hey, bring on De Los Santos, let's go, and De Los Santos jumped at it right away. So much props to him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do if he can crack the armor of Shakur Stevenson, but he's definitely hungry. He's 24 years old, and he's getting a chance to fight for a world title for his first time. He wants to make an impression, very much so. Looking forward to him in this fight. Now, he does have the height and reach advantage here. He's got a 1-inch height advantage over Shakur and a 2-inch reach advantage. Is that really going to matter based on their styles? I don't think so. But what does he need to do to defeat Shakur Stevenson? And I think he needs to really incorporate a jab and jab for jab. Honestly, I've always felt this way with a pure boxer like Stevenson. Mayweather was this way. A guy like that, you have to jab with him. You have jab for jab with him. When he jabs, you jab kind of deal. And if you do that, you can set yourself up. You really can. 7 rounds into the Mayweather-De La Hoya fight, De La Hoya was winning that fight behind the jab, you know? And I really believe Zab Judah was winning. Wasn't winning, but he was making the fight close with Mayweather because of the jab. Mayweather was on that special kind of level. And so is Shakur Stevenson in terms of talent. And you have to, with special fighters, you have to use a jab, in my opinion. And I think if De Los Santos can incorporate that and follow it up with his straight left hand, because he's a southpaw too, that might pay off for him. He might be able to make a dent. And if he can catch Shakur and hurt him, you know, that would be huge. So he really needs to try to take advantage of when Shakur's attacking him. I say when Shakur decides to stand in front of him or come at him, he needs to throw a jab and follow it up with a straight left hand down the pipe and see if he can land it flush and try to hurt Shakur. That I think is his key to trying to win this fight. Is disrupt the rhythm of Shakur Stevenson. Cut off the ring. He has to cut off the ring in order to be successful. Now, can Edwin De Los Santos win this fight by knockout? Shakur, I haven't seen him get hurt. He doesn't get hit very much cleanly. But, I mean, De Los Santos is a powerful puncher. This is Shakur's 3rd weight class. I absolutely believe that De Los Santos can hurt Shakur if he can catch him. So does that mean he can knock him out? Yeah, I think the possibility's there. I do. Because De Los Santos is a good, hard-hitting fighter. That doesn't mean he's going to knock him out. I just think the possibility is there because of his power. Now, can De Los Santos win a decision over Shakur? I don't see that. I really don't. He would really have to be much better than advertised and be able to just overwhelm him with his power and just kind of bully him up to win a decision. I really can't see that happening. So I don't think he gets a decision over Shakur Stevenson. I just don't see it. What does a win mean for Edwin De Los Santos? It will be his ticket to the party. If he can knock off a guy that is widely viewed as being a pound-for-pound star soon, you know, like Shakur Stevenson, the sky is the limit. This guy becomes a world champion at the same time, and he'll have upset maybe the future of boxing. Oh, yeah. It's huge for him. So a victory for Edwin De Los Santos is fucking major. Now, what does a loss mean for De Los Santos? Well, obviously a loss is really going to hurt, you know, but any kind of loss does. But here's the kicker. Nobody's expecting De Los Santos to win this fight. They're really not. I'm going to be real with you guys. De Los Santos is not being picked to win this fight by hardly anybody. So he really needs to have that nothing to lose kind of attitude and go in knowing that, much the way he did against Jose Valenzuela. Nobody was really giving him an opportunity against Valenzuela either. And he went in there and he defeated Jose Valenzuela, you know, knocked him out. So I think if he can have the same kind of approach against Shakur, and just really go into it knowing like, hey, I need to land something big. I'm getting a huge opportunity here, but really not put too much pressure on him because he's young and he has time, and if he loses, so what? You know, everybody's expecting me to lose anyways. When you have that kind of mentality of nothing to lose, it makes you more dangerous. And I think De Los Santos, with his power and his youth, and if he has that mentality, it makes him more dangerous to a guy like Shakur. Do I think, you know, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm just saying with that attitude, it gives him an opportunity. So now, the last two things that we're going to discuss. Is it better for boxing if Shakur Stevenson or Edwin De Los Santos wins this fight? And I think it's obvious that it's Shakur for sure. He's widely viewed as the future, and he's a marketable fighter. He's talented as hell. He really is a special type of fighter, and I really think it's you know, it's way better for boxing if Shakur pulls this victory out, because you keep that aura of invincibility up is what Shakur would do by getting a victory here. And I think that's what he needs. I really do think that's what Shakur, you know, what boxing needs is young fighters that have that aura there. And you know, I definitely think Shakur can win that fight. I mean, you know, that's what it would be if he wins. So absolutely bigger for boxing if he wins. But I don't think it's bad for boxing if a guy like Edwin De Los Santos pulls off the upset because of his style, because of his power, and because of his youth. He's only 24 years old. So this would not be a bad thing if De Los Santos pulls off this victory over Shakur Stevenson. So that's my opinion there. Now, my prediction, who do I think is going to win this fight between Shakur Stevenson and Edwin De Los Santos for the vacant WBC lightweight title? And I'm firm on this one. Shakur Stevenson is going to win this fight. Outside of getting caught with a big punch, which, hey, it is possible, especially the more weight you move up, you get caught by a big time puncher, you can get knocked out. Anybody can get knocked out. But Shakur is so fucking good, and he's in this moment where he has to stay good if he wants those major fights. He took a risk by not fighting Devin Haney. He did. Not fighting him was a risk because you don't know when those big opportunities are going to come down again. And but he stood his ground based on what he feels he's worth, and I respect that. So that's why I'm not too harsh on him as other people are about, oh, you should have just taken the fight. No, you want to market the fight. You want the fight to be huge. You want it to be big, and you want to get paid what you're worth. And, you know, I understand that. So that's why I'm not too big on him. But by taking that risk, he has to fucking win now. He has to win because there's not just the Devin Haney fight. Vasily Lomachenko wants to be the next big star, and or wants to not be the next big star. He wants to be undisputed at 135. He's not done, and I think Bob Arum can talk Lomachenko into fighting Shakur next year, especially if Haney doesn't return and Tank Davis continues to duck everybody. You know, that's good. That's really good at lightweight. I think absolutely Bob Arum can make that fight for those two, for Shakur and Vasily, and I think it makes sense. And then you also have fights with like Emmanuel Navarrete, who's on the undercard. So this is big for Shakur Stevenson right here. He needs this win. I believe he's going to get this win for sure. I got him winning this fight. I think he's going to break down De Los Santos, open up on him like halfway through, really open up on him. I think he's going to break him down, work the body, land his counter shots, protect himself, and then second half of the fight, he's going to really pour it on in terms of just attacking more, but staying out of harm's way. And I think he's going to break down the younger fighter and get him out of there in the later rounds and become a 3-division world champion by knockout in the late rounds. That's what I see happening. So Shakur Stevenson by late stoppage in this fight. But again, De Los Santos, because of his power, makes him a live underdog. So don't be surprised if Shakur gets caught by something big and De Los Santos becomes a world champion too. But I really believe Shakur is on that Terrence Crawford special type level to where he's not going to allow himself to lose this fight. So That's it. That's my Stevenson versus De Los Santos breakdown video. They will collide for the vacant WBC lightweight title on Thursday night, November 16th, in the main event of an ESPN card. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing, and you've been hit with the truth.